Time's up. Have your own.
Here it comes.
How? Okay, I said it wrong.
So the Jew's the one that says Hail.
He messes that up, and Dermy's got his nose in the camera. We're very professional stream.
I was like poking at something inside of my mouth as I was shifted over. I was like, okay, so hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome to Doctor Who Cares Reviews, where we are just good at what we do. We're professionals. We are here to talk the end of the line for Shooty Who. It's getting towards the end, and this episode really is an example of somebody who, A, cannot write a coherent story to save their lives, in my opinion. Juno Dawson. And at the same time, someone who doesn't understand Doctor Who. And also, this is what happens when Shooty tries to have gravitas, and it doesn't quite reach the mark. You can feel him trying, and it's just not there. And then Jed gets to do a victory lap, or maybe he doesn't want to call it that because he was right.
I had so many theories that I threw at the wall, so I don't think I necessarily deserve credit for one of them happening to be right.
I was right, sort of, in the end. Susan showed up. I've been saying that since last season.
He had a wet dream about his goddamn granddaughter. It saved his life.
Is that ew?
It was kind of like that, yeah.
Oh, God. And now I have something for that right here. I do have a particular post bookmark. I think it's from next week. I don't know. Maybe it's from last season and I missed it. I don't know. But I mean, I got a lot of different things. It's like I said, I got a lot of reactions from the reveal of our villain, which Jed got right, to other things about it. And then we've got images from next episode. I don't have all of them. I only have a couple here, but there's just so much wrong with this. What do you got? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This is not the face you make after having a dream about your granddaughter.
None of it makes sense. I mean, telepathy, and that's the original Susan too. That's the original actress. I made sure before I made my commentary. That's her. They rolled her out for this. And that kind of makes me ill inside.
That's how I felt when they brought back Ian for Jodie Whittaker's final episode as well. It just feels predatory, almost.
I mean, good for her. Get your paycheck. But
how old is she?
Well, I mean,
that was 61 years ago now when the show started.
70s, 80s.
She's at least in her 80s, I'd say.
She looks good.
Mid-80s.
That's not me wanting to bang a gilf right there. That's just me observing that. I thought she was like 50. So she looks good for her age.
50?
Yeah, maybe
she does look good for her age. She's 70s 50, like Golden Girls 50s, not modern day 50 like Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, modern day 58 is Salma Hayek. That's modern day 58.
Yeah, I
am all there for that every night.
Classic 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to have a cookie made by her. That's not a sexual innuendo. That's me.
That sounds like one, yeah.
That's me saying I want a cookie from my grandma.
When we get to that scene, I don't know how you guys...
you just said, I want a quickie. That's what it sounded like to me. I was like, God damn it. I heard quickie.
It did sound dirty. No matter what he said, it sounded dirty.
Anyway. All right. Welcome, one and all, across all the channels. We're happy to have you with us here, despite our obvious stupidity. We are here tonight to talk Dr. Shooty Who, Season 2, Episode 6, the Interstellar. I keep wanting to say intergalactic. Interstellar Song Contest.
They keep changing the rules on that. They say we're the biggest song contest in the universe between galaxies, this galaxy, interstellar. They use those terms so interchangeably that you might as well say intergalactic for all they're aware of. I don't think Juno understands the difference between interstellar, intergalactic, and the whole universe.
Juno doesn't even understand the difference between his own penis and not being there, okay? Remember that.
I think this episode was written like shit.
Anyway, let's say hi. Hi, Dermy.
Hi. Listen, I had a statement on what Juno doesn't know about all lined up in my head, but I was like, you know what? I actually like your guys' channels. And that's coming from the guy that, did what he did over on what was it, the Mordor country. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
probably spicy.
You were angrier at that than I think you are here.
I gotta be honest here. It's not a great episode. Like,
No.
in the grand scheme of Shooty Who, if you say an episode's good, that's essentially you saying, hey, you went to an ice cream shop and instead of them shitting in your goddamn ice cream cone, they gave you melted ice cream.
No, I wouldn't even go that far. I think it's the difference between getting arsenic and shit.
See, for me, it's like it's shit, but it's like on the top of my shoe, and I can't quite get it off.
Well, how about this? It's like ice cream, but they spat in it instead of took a shit in it.
And they probably did something else to it too.
Yeah.
Knowing Juno, it probably came in it.
Yeah, I mean, Derby, that indentation in the ice cream. Think about it.
It's not a spoon.
Yeah, it wasn't a spoon.
Well, listen, what I'm trying to say is, I didn't hate this episode as much as probably Adam did.
Oh no, I didn't. No, all right. Don't get me wrong. I didn't hate it. I'm just highly critical of it.
Oh, I hated it. I will be the bad guy. I'd say it's the difference between diarrhea and a solid turd.
Okay, that's fair.
Don't get me wrong. All right, let me rephrase it. I hate it with all the level I regularly hate Shooty Who, but I wasn't raging during this. I was rolling. For me, it was like eye rolling because every few seconds, here comes an agenda hit. Here comes anti-capitalism. Here comes pronouns. Here comes gender.
Oh, I forgot about the pronouns.
That came out of fucking nowhere.
I know. You see, I didn't mention it in my review, but it's just go ahead.
Oh, I think if I hadn't gotten the Ronnie spoiler before I watched the episode, I probably would have raged when it actually got to that reveal. That would have pissed me off. I had to tell
you were right away. I had to do it.
I found it out on Twitter first.
Okay.
What I would say is, I thought The Well was the best written episode for the season. I think this one is. Now that's a low bar for Shooty Who. I'm not over here praising it. I'm just like, I think it was better. Well, better than what we have been getting.
And I have my usual complaints. Okay, I have a checklist of complaints when it comes to Shooty Who. He doesn't behave like the Doctor, and then he'll almost be the Doctor, but then he isn't.
He'll cry.
He doesn't go all the way. Like, this is one of those episodes where.
Wait, no, he didn't.
Yeah, he cried.
Oh, he cried. Yeah, he cried after like one of the visions of Susan, and then he went over to the console with the two gay men standing behind him.
It was right after Graham Norton's first appearance.
Yeah,
it was briefly. You just see the track down his cheek, like he doesn't sob or anything, but you see the wet track.
You didn't see that. You have to catch it. I used that for one of my screenshots in my video. Who's there? And Unit 1487. Yes, that was a fantastic moment.
That's how to do it. That episode is fucking fantastic.
That was great. And we got Kane. He saw Canine again for the first time.
I love
That's
Kanan.
Good stuff. That's good stuff, man. That was fantastic. That was great. And it's only shit if you want this series to succeed. The perfect. I mean, listen.
I mean, that's fair.
We're gonna talk about these activist fake fans a little bit later. We're gonna get through this first because a lot of that is in tandem with.
Man, there's so many people that know what the fuck the Ronnie is now.
Listen, I only knew about it because Jed has mentioned it a few times. Let's be honest, the Ronnie. And I looked it up when I was done to make sure, okay, how much of an antagonist was she? 3 episodes in the late 80s.
When she was the antagonist, she was in more episodes than that. But she's been in a fair amount of the late classic Who, but she was never an outright villain. Besides maybe those episodes that you're talking about, like she's a much more complicated character. She's much more selfishly driven. She's not like the Master, where she's like, I want to rule the world because I hate things. No, she's not like that. She might be like, hey, I want pretty things. So to do this pretty thing, I need to manipulate these people. It was more along that line, where she could sometimes be the Doctor's ally, sometimes a faux antagonist. I think more accurate description is a true anti-hero, not used in the current day sense where it's a hero who shoots people. It's kind of, she flip-flops. She plays jump rope with good and evil.
Would you say she's, for people that aren't so familiar with old Who, like myself and Adam, is she kind of more like Missy, where Missy is
End of season 10 Missy is her, where you don't really know where her allegiances are going to lie. She might be a bad person, might be a good person. Yeah, late Missy is a great example of it, but she's not going to come out of it and be like, I'm going to destroy everything. Like those super generic lines. It's going to be awful. And
what we have here is, I mean, we're going to find out the Ronnie's motivations next week, which, I know the title for next week's episode is called Wish World.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some things from what I've seen, but we're gonna find she's protecting something. So there's something still saved from the doctor. Something about some data she's been collecting whenever he triangulates with his butt thermometer thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now
I thought it was a dildo.
Call it what you will. It's shooty. It could be both.
She's a great character, though. I do want to say that. I love the Ronnie, and it kind of hurts me that she's been brought back like this as a generic villain. She's just female master here.
Oh yeah, that's what we said. But here's the thing: her motivations seem, if by your knowledge and description of her classic Who appearances and persona, this feels like you said, girl master, like Missy, but not in the good way, or like Missy. Like I mean,
at least that was the female master,
and Missy was good. Michelle Gomez Missy was fantastic. It was outstanding. That was a perfect, well laid out season long plot, and then the twist: Missy, mistress, master. I didn't see it coming, and I loved every second of it when it happened. This. You've been saying, well, first we thought Mrs. Flood might be Susan, or I did. And then you said she's probably the Ronnie. And then you explained to her who she was off camera. And it was like, okay, fine. I hope they don't do this because they haven't built it up at all. And it's frankly making the classic Disney mistake. Oh, go do your homework for a character that hasn't been around for 40 years.
I was hoping for the master. I was really hoping for the master. Just give it to me.
Mm.
I know it's not going to be good, but I was like, please let me be right.
Well, here's the problem too, and we might as well just I don't know. You know what? Let's get into the episode and we'll talk about the Ronnie because it's the stinger at the end. So, Shooty and Belligerent arrive at this singing contest, and I'll say what I said in my review. I don't like singing contests, but I don't really understand the culture, so I'm not going to make fun of them because I know they're not made for me. They're not. But
I just like listening to people sing. That's about it.
But I mean, it's just. But the way they try and push it on you through the video, through the show, is obnoxious, and especially because here is something, and I have a post that I'm going to share later. Once again, there's no consistency to Belligerent's character whatsoever. In this one, oh my God, I'm sipping my Slurpee, and I remember when my mom and my dad used to watch it with me, and we would vote on it. I was like,
But first of all, Adam, don't you understand Eurovision?
No, I don't.
Aren't you excited for Eurovision? Everybody knows about Eurovision. Everybody watches Eurovision.
I'm not in Europe.
That's just
I'm an
bigotry.
American, and even in America, I don't. Even here in America, I don't watch the singing show with American Idol. Yeah, that's it. I was like, I didn't even remember the damn name. I didn't even watch that shit.
America has its own Eurovision, literally called American Eurovision. It only started recently, and nobody even watches it.
Just call it like Meravision or something like that, not American Eurovision.
Americavision.
Americavision, that's pretty good. No, the closest I've gotten to watching the Eurovision is the Will Ferrell Netflix Eurovision movie, if you guys have seen that.
I have never even heard of that.
It's so dumb. It's Richard McAdams with Will Ferrell as like Norwegianers who trying to get in, and or Icelanders. Icelandic. It's so dumb. Their accents are ridiculous, but it's fun.
Either way, they're there, and then they have
Eurovision again.
They're there. They have to stay and watch. But as I say, Belligerent's character is so bipolar in this season. And literally, she's only been with him for like 2, maybe 3 days at most. She's done nothing with him. So 1 minute, she's unrelenting, belligerent girl boss. And then she's obsessing over her memories of her parents who, listen, I have great memories with doing stuff with my mom growing up, but I'm not so weirdly obsessive about it as she is. It's like those are her only fond memories, stuff with her parents. Am I wrong? She doesn't talk about doing anything with anybody else. It's always, I do stuff with my mom and dad.
It's the most basic form of backstory. It's like, oh yeah, I guess parents are kind of important, and they just didn't even think about other things for backstory.
It's because she's supposed to be the girl that's key to everything. Once again, they pretty much set that up at the very beginning, where it's like she's important. We need to figure out why she's important. We've all forgot that she's supposed to be important. But that's essentially why they bring up the fact that she has parents. Is you're supposed to think that that's probably the key to what her actual.
And we're supposed to connect to her, but I got something to think. I'm not static, Sherry. I'm not static. You know who I am.
Nah,
I'm not. Static.
You know what? No, I agree. I agree with Adam here. That's mean to Static.
Fuck you. Anyway. I think it's okay. But it's inconsistent writing with her, and it's shallow writing. So suddenly she's very carefree and this and that, and then for the rest of the episode, she's just there and gets pulled along. And she's also
what
there
does
for
she do?
She's there for information dumps. She's there to be the vehicle, the recipient of information dump concerning Hela.
Well, not just Hela, but also why they can't call for help, which I'll actually defend why they can't call for help, because I think it makes sense within the context of it being a contest. It's supposed to be like a gambling law, so that people that are in the audience that ends up knowing who the actual winners aren't going to end up cheating.
It is broadcast live. It's not shown to have any delay whatsoever, so the benefits would be marginal.
Either way, she does nothing except be there. And even at the end, it's like, oh, I just wish I'd been able to tell the doctor how much I love him now. It's obnoxious.
It's so bad. And I don't know if you guys clocked it. Pretty much as soon as that the singer was saved and I saw her hair, I knew she was hiding horns or stumps
obviously.
under there.
You could tell. I didn't know stumps. I thought they were going to be in her hair. I thought the horns were going to be in her hair. That's what I thought.
It was so obvious. This episode is so racist.
It's also coincidence. The episode, everything's coincidence.
Can I just say, I thought Wynn, which is the female Hellion, the white female Hellion.
Yeah,
I thought she was wanting to save the black chick because in reality she was a lesbian.
You know that was a good guess. That was
in this show. That's a very good guess.
It was a very.
I was about to say the reality is she knows what Kid is doing is awful, and she loves that black minge.
Oh God! All I know is that it was so coincidental that they all knew each other.
They all knew each other. How the survival happens with the doctor, the confetti cannon, the gravity field.
All right.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of science.
I mean,
it's a misunderstanding of space in general.
Here's the thing. So white Hellion evil little man decides to instantly just try and kill everybody there because we'll talk about his purpose in a second, but I just want to get through the scene. And Shooty, who he is clever there, he realized something was wrong, and he tries to do what he can to mitigate it. But of course, as soon as I heard the word, I'm going to mess with the Mavity field. Ah!
They said Mavity so many.
They said it so many times.
Stop. And I just want to point out, if the doctor realized that something bad was going to happen, he would, just like Shooty does, to his credit, try to save everyone or mitigate it like you're talking about, but he would also prioritize saving the life of his companion. He would have turned that booth on immediately, the little like protective shell that goes around the VIP booth. That would be like step one for him. And he knows he needs to survive to help everyone, so he'd get in it as well. It's just that he can't think two steps ahead.
You guys are missing the most important part.
What?
His sonic screwdriver has security alarms. That's how he found out that everything was going bad. Was the sonic screwdriver made a noise? He looked at it and then
let me ask
you
this too. Have you noticed that he keeps changing the color plating on his TV remote?
Well, because it's
red now. It used to be blue. Now it's red.
That's because it gets caked in brown stuff and he has to clean it.
Oh, God damn it, During stop. No. And here's the other thing too. I don't like the fact that just about in every episode, the events neutralize the TARDIS. I really hate that the TARDIS just gets sucked up. It's the TARDIS!
It's the same thing that happened in the Jodie Whittaker era. It was nothing more than transportation. Beginning of the episode, show up where you need to go. End of the episode, leave. That's all the TARDIS has been for the last 8 years of Doctor Who, or however long it's been. It's not a character anymore. Like, even before the Doctor's wife, when we saw Iris take on the Matrix of the TARDIS.
I love that episode!
Fantastic episode.
You beautiful thing! You
But even
sexy
before
girl.
that, we got a sense of character from it. There was a life to it. We saw the Doctor interacting with it in a loving way, and it felt like another character, an essential character.
I mean, there's something about the time where snapping the fingers and the door opens, and I missed that. I missed that.
They keep forgetting that the fucking TARDIS is a living being.
Yes.
They keep forgetting that it has its own mind, its own sentience. And you go back to when like Rose opened up and absorbed the TARDIS within her. Mm-hmm. That was the TARDIS kind of working through her at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, they don't have that no more. It's just
they don't.
there.
No,
the TARDIS would have been able to fucking save the Doctor before he fell into fucking space and should have died.
The TARDIS has security features on it that we've seen before, where it can change its mass to protect itself. So if it's going to be sucked out in a way that doesn't follow decompression science in any way, shape, or form, it would have increased its mass to stay grounded.
Mm-hmm. That's why when it gets sucked out, that was when my eye roll one was like, oh, here we go again. We're disrespecting the
that
TARDIS.
suck out scene, it doesn't start in the middle and just do expanding circle of everyone coming out. It would be a matter of distance. So things close to the hole would leave first, and then down and down and down. So all the people should be leaving at pretty close to the same time unless they're able to grab onto something.
Yeah, it should have been more or less instantaneous, not a wave formation or a funnel formation.
And gravity is still in place on this station.
Call it what it is. It's Mavity.
I
will hurt you.
There's some form of artificial gravity on this station. Doesn't look like Coriolis, so it's some sort of artificial gravity. So with decompression, they would have bounced and been like sucked towards the hole a lot, but gravity would have retaken control and their bodies would slam back down to the ground. There would not be enough decompression to launch them out of the station. In gravity. In 0G, it absolutely could have.
Yeah. So Shooty gets sucked into space, and does Time Lord biology allow for vacuum survival?
So, I mean, he says that it's not vacuum somehow, which doesn't make sense. But yeah, Time Lord physiology, they're more resilient than humans. They can survive up slightly. They're slightly better than humans when it comes to their physicality, but not enough to just hang out in the vacuum and go, woo! They can't, you still can't make sounds in a vacuum.
All right, so here's the thing. So he's out there. When we get back to him eventually, after we get a whole bunch of other shit going on with the gay dudes and who he's going to run into, who are just the perfect temporary companions he could have asked for. What a coincidence.
All the skills he needs, yep.
Exactly. The vision of Susan. First of all,
Wake up, grandfather.
I mean, listen, that doesn't feel right or real to me. And why is she coming through the TARDIS?
It doesn't make sense.
I have a weird feeling like that special person that told him to go hunt down Belinda is actually Susan, but they have some sort of memories from the past that Susan met him and blah, blah, blah. And now he's just thinking about her when he should be dead.
But he did it, but he snaps himself out of the ice.
Which, yeah, he doesn't go into enough explanation for how those people are in stasis. He just says a gravity shield is saving them. But that doesn't imply that there's atmosphere, doesn't imply that there's temperature control, because, and this is a pop culture thing, so I don't necessarily blame the show for this, but your skin doesn't ice over like that. Your blood boils when you enter the void. Your blood will boil because in a vacuum, the boiling temperature of blood is much lower. And then, yeah, depending on how close the star is, there's other factors. One side of you will freeze but not form ice crystals. The other part will burn. And yeah, you don't just get this generic film of ice over you that breaks off really easily.
Also, if there's no oxygen, you end up imploding. Well, not imploding.
If you hold your breath, yeah.
Yeah, you end up... Honestly, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, when Quill was out in space, the way he ended up looking is more or less kind of similar.
That was a lot more accurate than Guardians
And-
Volume 1 because you're gonna have blood vessels popping and whatnot.
even Quill had in that moment had a special case because he was part
he had
superior being
Mhm.
at that moment in time.
But a gravity shield is not a good enough explanation to say how these people survived. If there's enough cold to frost over your skin, they're dead. There's no oxygen, so they all suffocate or they implode. And they don't explain anything. The confetti cannon, I guess, could work if it had a strong enough outer shell over the compressed air. If it's plastic casing, that would implode just like your lungs would.
Well, the worst part is how would even if we say that the confetti cannon survived going into space, how would it end up actually being able to control itself good enough to be able to get on over to the airlock? Because you need to have some sort of way to maneuver yourself. And if you're just saying he and flying randomly through space, you're never going to get there. You're going to die.
But how else was he going to get to the guys that can have a threesome with later?
They are really into him.
They were so thirsty by the end of it, man. They were so thirsty for him. All right,
I will say this, at least about Gary and Mike. They were more than just gay.
They had more going on.
Oh, they had more going on.
Mm-hmm.
But but they had to be gay. They couldn't just be friends going to see this. No, they had to be gay, but they were also massively convenient. One is a nurse who is perfectly trained in everything he's going to need to help eventually revive people, including him. And the other is the guy who designed the entire holo matrix of the space station for the event.
And his husband is surprised that he cares about this. It's like, this just songs, whatever. It sounds like he works there, so it would be important to him. But go ahead.
I love how at the start they're in a fight and they imply they've been fighting for a long period of time and they might get a break up. And then by the end of it, when they all watch themselves just work together over and over and over again, they're like, we're fine now.
They're also fine because they're planning a party with Shooty later.
Oh God.
They were.
They were planning something creepy. And I do need to point out before I forget another thing that doesn't make any sense in the Shooty got saving his life in the void thing. He swam through a vacuum. He was literally like doggy paddling through empty space to get to the confetti cannon. There's no air resistance, so you can't move around. This could have been way more interesting. Have him see the TARDIS. Have him find the nearest weighted object, push against it. That's how you make propulsion. Get to the TARDIS and then get back in. That makes way more sense.
Jed, every Shooty episode needs to neutralize the TARDIS so that it can't be used. Because if the TARDIS was there,
like listening to 3 of Clay Travis's.
Who's on? I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
I don't listen to Clay Travis, so I have no idea how that relates.
I don't even know.
I don't even know who he is.
It sounds like a shallow dig at us. So whatever. Thanks for the interaction.
I guess when I was the one that was actually probably more positive about this episode than the other two.
Yeah. Well, we
it's
haven't
still
gone to the
stupid, but I'm still a little.
We haven't gone to the good stuff yet. So I want to talk. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Hellions and their motivations and their actions. So
the dumbest fucking thing.
And just generic evil corporation because evil macapitalism.
There it is. Evil macapitalism. Evil macapitalism.
You can't even name the corporation.
They can't even name corporation. But here's the thing. So their whole entire plan: kill 3 trillion people, so that everybody can see the evil of the corporation.
Commit genocide to make the company who they committed genocide on or using their stuff make them look bad. This just proves everything the corporation says. This will only make things worse for these people. If a bunch of Hellions say, hey, corporation did bad thing, I'm going to kill 3 trillion people who aren't connected to the corporation, everyone else is going to go, wow, maybe the propaganda about the Hellions was right. Maybe we should really discriminate against them and kick them out of our planets.
Let's kill people to show how bad the corporation is when we're not actually showing how bad the corporation is because we're not actually saying anything. We're just going to kill people and say evil.
All we know is poppy honey.
And
now, what would have made more sense is if they had put together a video of all the devastation that happened on their homeworld. I'm sure they have access to it, and use the song contest broadcast to 3 trillion people as a way to expose the lies of the corporation.
Why
hurting
are
as
you
few
killing
people as you can.
Now,
that just damages your position.
Yeah, and at the same time, at the very end with the song, oh, I'm going to sing a song about it, and now everything's better.
In a language that no one understands. Why didn't the TARDIS translate that?
Here's a question. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I'll say what I'm going to say. This ties into my checklist, what the Doctor would have done. All right, we'll get to what Shooty does to Hellion White Guy in a minute. But after the Doctor would have saved everybody, he then would have gone, not to be capitalism evil, because that's what I've seen a lot of people online who are supporters saying, oh man, if it had been Capaldi's Doctor, he would have just destroyed all capitalism in a reign of terror and glory.
No, he wouldn't.
We wouldn't have. But no, he said the Doctor would have been, okay, I've stopped you. And now, oh, look, we've done. I'm going to do a Dr. Clever thing and reveal what this corporation did to your planet for real. Show it to everybody in a clever, fun way while giving a doctor speech.
I remember
he doesn't. He loses his agency to a song.
I've two.
Everybody cries too, by the way. Everybody cried.
Well, I'll tackle the song here.
Okay.
Well, here's my problem with the corporation. So they went to Helia for the poppies so they could get a honey flavoring.
Honey, yeah, fake honey. They make fake honey.
And it made more sense to kill a bunch of people, burn the planet, steal some seeds, and have a propaganda campaign about how bad the species is.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
That's all dumb. It would actually be a whole lot smarter for said corporation to work alongside the Hellions, give the Hellions a justification to actually cultivate these poppies over and over and over again. So then you have a constant stream of this shit.
And but you know what would have been a better story for a bad corporation? If they enslaved them. And
that makes more sense.
Then they could have got one of their favorite topics of all time, slavery. They could have done that.
There's way more suggestions that make much more sense than what the corporation actually did. These people who always do these capitalism evil episodes have a fundamental misunderstanding of capitalism, so they can't portray it in any way that makes sense. Yeah. Every time they're making the decisions that go against profitability, which is ultimate evil capitalism would value profitability over everything. Then why do they keep making decisions that are so against their own profitability?
But you understand that. But you understand how they respond to it. They respond to it. You realize everything they described, what they think capitalism does. It's actually what commie Marxism does. That's what it's what commie Marxism does.
That's a sad reality, isn't it?
So they are describing their belief system.
In the USSR.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, in everything they're describing, they're saying, "Oh, it's bad capitalism." No, you're actually describing the ideology you prescribe to, but they don't realize that. That's stupid.
My second part, though, that whole song. Jed, you mentioned the Eurovision Netflix show. The end of that, how they save the day, is one of the two main the female protagonists who's out there with Will Ferrell. She saves the day essentially by singing a song in Icelandic, kicking their whole team out of the tournament, but it proves that she loves her native tongue and her country more than fame and glory. And then everybody cries and is happy and claps for said song.
They steal the plot of Eurovision?
Yeah. They stole the plot of it. They stole the plot of a fucking a middling comedy from Netflix called Eurovision.
A Will Ferrell comedy, no less.
Here's the thing. We haven't talked about it. Eurovision, they're kind of fun, but it's not because of like the songs or wanting somebody to win. It's because they're actually fun performances. People put on some interesting shows.
I'll take your word for it.
This was nothing. Even when they went to the fucking space lady alien thing to come out there to do the whole, I love you, but my heart says no. Where's the performance? Where's the intrigue about any of this? Where's the fun
the honky duck?
I was like, what is this? What am I looking at? What's going on?
You can go. YouTube has all sorts of like some of the old Eurovision contests on that you can always just look up. They have some really cool fucking shit that some people have done over at Eurovision. Bringing out ancient Viking horns to come in there, utilizing different lighting effects with some drapes and stuff to cause fire. A guy went out there, played the fucking fiddle, and goddamn went around on skates over and over again and sang a song that's honestly very addictive. Where's any of that in this? If this is supposed to be your Eurovision episode,
that requires creativity.
But that's part of Eurovision, is the showmanship, is this whole grandiose event. That's why people like it.
Hang on 1 second. Probably more facial hair than you can grow, kiddo. Thanks for joining.
3 likes, 3 white neck beards.
Yeah, I'm a small channel. I'm a
Same
small
here.
channel.
And just to remind you, I like the episode.
But it doesn't change the fact that even though we'll go over the overnights later, still one of the worst overnights ever. Enjoy your failing show.
There's actually a caveat
the only
to
ones
those
left.
overnights.
Well, I know there is. I know
we'll probably talk more about the viewership, but and a season with like all of the lowest rated episodes of all time over a 62 year history. Yeah, sure, we're the minority. Sure.
Yeah, sure. You're here. You're here to try and trigger us. When you're the one triggered, you've come into our backyard to cry. We didn't find you. You came to us. So
can I just
enjoy?
Hey, Adam, all we need to know is this person has a progressive pride flag in the form of kind of like an iron eagle.
Yeah. I think it's called We Can Grow Facial Hair, and you probably can't. And it's also, I haven't shaven this week, and Jed has a man beard, and Jeremy's growing his jihadi beard back out. So
it's also it's also called They Love What Juno Dawson Does with Them Kids.
Yeah. So you could stay here, keep going. You realize the more you talk, the more you cry, it just improves the algorithm and the traction. So keep chatting.
Don't admit to it.
Thanks. Oh, come on. They got to learn somehow. Anyway,
listen.
So
all I know for sure is we are not going to acknowledge you unless you super chat us money.
Yeah. Give me money. Anyway, so and also, we're also simulcasting. There's many people watching us across many streams. So I'm just a fraction of the people watching us right here. Anyway,
that's right.
It's neck hair. It's called a beard, and we can grow it, and you can't. That's it. We have testosterone, and you probably don't. Anyway,
wait. Do people really not understand how beards work?
This is probably somebody who thinks they're a man.
Okay? Yeah, you're supposed to have a little bit of hair on the neck. All right.
Yeah,
it's only a neck beard if it's only on the neck. That's what quantifies the neck beard. It kind of grows
this way, and once a week I shave it off and I start all over again.
Listen, I grow out the jihadi beard, and then I go over to my barber and he cleans it up for me. I get like I have a really nice beard most of the time.
I shave most of my neck. These people, it's just an insult that they don't understand. Just like incel, these terms mean nothing anymore. They don't fit their original definitions. They're just, I don't agree with you. That's all they mean.
They're either a tranny who doesn't understand how facial hair works, or they don't have enough testosterone period to grow facial hair. So
I prefer to think that they love what Juno Dawson does with them kids.
I bet they do. They're all for it. They probably have the book. How do you think they learned? Anyway. All right, so we had our fun with the tiny little wannabe man. Let's get back to the show. But the whole back capitalism bad concept, it's retarded. And at the same time, within it, I've seen the online reaction. They're all crying, "Oh my God, why can't they be brave like Andor and talk about genocide?" The
fucking villain was trying to do a genocide.
I know.
A massive genocide. That is a galaxy-spanning genocide. Like, it's the biggest disaster in almost Doctor Who history besides the Flux. There's very few events that are as devastating as this one would have been. Besides, like, the occasional season finale.
And either way, it's what we expect from people who have no understanding of storytelling, nor the concepts that go into actual socio-political type of situations. They don't understand how anything works. So they just throw it on there, and then the people who read it think they're smart and like, oh my God, it's speaking to me about genocide or speaking to me about capitalism bad. Yay, communism. That's all it does. When you try to break it down, you realize, wow, there's nothing to this, because as Jed said, they don't understand how these concepts work.
Yeah,
don't get
their overall messaging is just boring, bland, and it drives you away from the actual episode itself. When the actual episode, I'm still gonna say it's better than The Well. Like a lot of the things that they did there, and I'll also say like Shooty Gatwa trying to have his angry doctor moment.
Let's talk about that.
It's not bad. It's just it's not.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. So when Shooty thinks that Belligerent is dead, he thinks he can't save all those people.
Hold on. Oh, Belligerent being dead doesn't make sense. He specifically says those people are alive in stasis, however the hell that happened.
Okay.
And he thinks she's with them. So they're, by the context of the own episode and what he says, he should just think she's in stasis and be like, yeah, I need to hurry to get her to save her.
Oh, that's true.
And they have the very, very improper motivation reveal until later that he's now thinking of what fake Master did to fake Gallifrey during Timeless Children.
Yeah, he said that they all died in one moment. The Master killed all the Gallifreyans in this new version of the Last of the Time Lords instantly.
Yeah. We're going back to Timeless Children, and that's motivation, but they don't actually give us that till the end. So none of his.
I didn't realize that was even Timeless Children.
You know what I mean? But it was because that's what he was talking about.
Okay.
That's the episode that happened in.
Yeah. Okay. But so he's got this ice in his heart that'll never go away, but we don't really know why. We think it's about Belligerent, but it's actually about Timeless Children.
That is the dumbest fucking line. You put it, there's ice in my heart, and you put it there. Why? Is this like trying to line up that you're going to die?
So then he's going to go through this whole, I'm going to find you. And I used it as my thumbnail when he's looking in the camera, going like this in the camera. And here's the thing. And I was telling Dermy this. And when I was watching it, like Dermy, I'm going to give Shooty a little bit of credit. He tried. He really, really tried to put something into it. But it just doesn't come off, especially when he keeps prancing around in the really tight pants with his ass sticking out.
And the very, very tight female shirt.
With his little chest hair protruding. And then he cries afterwards. And he's crying the whole time. The whole thing, every time he tries, there's something about either his performance or the visuals that just snaps you back to, oh, I'm just looking at Shooty Gatwa prancing around.
Like for my review, I ended up taking 3 really important segments and putting it up there. I took when Matt Smith's doctor was trapped around all those weeping angels with the soldiers. That's during his first season. I can't remember what episode that is. That's
Time of the Angels.
Yeah, Time of the Angels. I think it's part 1 because he says there's one thing you should never ever trap in an area, and it's me.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that speech. I took the Dalek speech. You know, the speech when Eccleston is staring down the Dalek saying, I
want you to die, just die.
I destroyed your entire race, and I'm the one that did it. And then also, it was the best one I could find right at that point in time, but David Tennant, when they were dealing with the living sun, and when she talks about how humanity, you guys just take, and you never care what's actually there.
Oh.
Not his best line ever, but it's still good. But even like that, not as best line still trumps anything that Shooty Gatwa did there. That performance alone was just so much better. And it's like, I see you trying. I see you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not working.
It's just not there. It's not in him. And once again, lies and propaganda. Nobody is banned. She's not banned. She's pretending to be banned over on.
So which one of you is the corporation here?
I'm the atom. I'm different than the corporation. That's a different thing altogether. But she's not banned. Dom's not banned. Kel isn't banned. Sleazy isn't banned. Nobody's banned. Lies and propaganda. Ban you if I could. He tries to give a doctor speech too in that, but there's no reason to yet. Is that a good way for me to put it? There's nothing to it. It's just anger.
I think it's anger, and there's nothing wrong with the Doctor having an angry speech, because again, the
there
Doctor's
isn't.
had his
We've had
angry
plenty.
speech. He's had that angry speech, but with all the idea that he already knows that all those people are still alive and everything, he really shouldn't. The only thing I could think that actually would put him over the edge is the knowledge that Kid is about to do an entire genocide on 13 trillion. I don't remember.
3 trillion.
Yeah, all that trillions of people, and he hurt Belinda, at least to his knowledge. Even though
he thinks he specifically said she's dead, even though right before that he said none of them are dead.
Yeah.
He changes belligerent status for no reason, with no evidence, and just a scene change. I think there were two versions of the script where one, she ended up in space, one, there has to be rewrites happened here, because it doesn't make sense for him to be so, you put ice in my heart, I gotta avenge belligerent, and then when she shows up, he's like, oh, I'm nice again.
And during that too, she keeps going, oh my God, I don't recognize him. Bitch, you don't know him.
Known him for like 3 days.
Yeah, I should have taken into account that you don't know anything about him, and every time you guys try to get close together, you're a cunt about it.
Yeah.
If it was Millie Gibson, yeah, that would have been.
She spent a good year with him.
Yeah, that was a fair amount of time. But even in shorter episodes, like Voyage of the Damned, where there was that temporary companion Astrid, they developed a little bit of a relationship. They had time to sit down and actually talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Belligerent and the Doctor haven't even had those real personable moments yet, like Astrid. And afterwards, the Doctor didn't rage after Astrid died. He was just, I'm going to save you. And it was very bittersweet, the ending with Astrid.
Jed, when they were cartoons, they talked about their fears in Lux.
The most obvious, like, I'm afraid I won't go home. No shit, you yell about it every start of an episode.
Except this one. No, we're going to stay and have a good time.
Because Eurovision, and this is a fucking shit Eurovision.
All right, so Shooty's whole attack mode, I'm okay when the Doctor goes to war. In fact, I like it when the Doctor goes to war. It's fun. It taps into masculinity, except Shooty's not masculine.
And it needs to be justified, and it needs to make sense. Hard light is not a thing. You can't turn a hologram into that, and him just going.
Hard light is only a thing in DC.
Mm-hmm.
That's an actual DC comic thing. I've never heard it in fucking Doctor Who.
Light can't really operate with mass. And so that's the thing. The speed of light isn't actually the speed of light. It's the speed of things that don't have mass. So if we somehow were able to become beings without mass, we could travel at the speed of light. I know this is getting way too technical for people, but if you ever made light that could interact with people on a matter-based level or a physical-based level, it would cease to be light by any definition, and it would have to become matter to do that. So it makes no sense whatsoever.
It makes sense within the comic book DC Comics, because they have a whole system for it, and it's essentially like holograms that exist for a period of time and have mass, yes, but it's only a period of time, and they can only be within certain rooms or being projected by like
the holodeck.
Yeah, the holodeck or something like that. Well, that's how they do the whole like hard light, but that's not Doctor Who. That's DC Comics, and DC Comics is a whole lot more weird.
Star Trek. I was talking Star Trek holodeck. The Doctor, and Voyager.
It's different. It's different genres.
Genre. Well, it's different. It's different series. The same genre, different franchises.
Also, I was using DC, but
they both of those franchises that you guys are talking about worked to justify it and made it make sense within the context of their own rules. They just threw out the term hard light and didn't explain it.
They wanted Shooty to look like a bull and torture this guy 3 trillion times by going like this and it wasn't just me, or did it look very suggestive when the guy's in a fetal position and Shooty is just
touching him?
Hologram Shooty keeps coming up behind him. It didn't look right.
It seems weird. He's just let me touch you. Yeah. I think we could have accomplished the same thing with a similar idea of maybe because these robots are so advanced, this guy installed a chip in his brain that lets him control the robots better than the dwarf lady, and the Doctor's able to hack into that device and cause pain in the guy's head. Something like that, and he just uses the sonic to do it. Yeah. Something like that where it actually makes sense.
Well, it would have made sense because hard light. Even how the fuck would a hard light construction?
All right,
even
all right. Let's move on from the hard light stuff.
And
It's
zap
either
him.
way.
But like,
Either way, it's a failed attempt to make him look very macho and strong, and it doesn't quite work because he
And
leans
he
more
should be
towards
torturing the
lunatic side.
woman as well. They try at the end to act like that female Hellion
she's
isn't
hot.
guilty or anything, and it's
Yeah.
okay. She's hurt, so it's okay.
Yeah,
and the other Hellion forgave her, and it definitely feels like at the end that she shouldn't be getting in trouble for anything that happened.
Jed, they had to give belligerent and hidden Hellion girl a reason to show up and then talk everybody down.
It's so bad.
But also, Wynn
This
is hot.
woman, she consciously killed 100,000 people. At least from her perspective, they went through with it. They didn't know the doctor saved everyone, so they killed 100,000 people and were moments away from killing 3 trillion people. That is mass genocide, and she was going along with it. But then they're just like, "Oh, but she's sad, so it's okay."
Corporation bad.
But corporation
Somehow
bad, and you
killing
never.
3 trillion people reveals the corporation's evilness.
But you forgot. You forgot. Black Lady just ran and hid and never tried to fight back.
And that's the wrong time to talk about the Hellions. That's the wrong time to do the song because that just happened. You're not going to change 3 trillion minds who are on the verge of being exterminated.
It worked. It worked.
I just
sang a song and everybody cried.
That would have been way more
okay.
bittersweet if she had said, someday I might be able to help reclaim the image of the Hellions, but today might be our lowest moment because we prove to be the monsters that the universe thinks we are. And I just hope someday to prove that we're not like these two. These two, not just him. Mm-hmm. Both of them are ultimate evil.
This is something that Black Hellion chick, who I just said random black lady over and over again.
Cora.
Yeah, random black lady. I'm not going to remember her fucking name. She's a one-time person. She said Hellions aren't allowed to sing. Why?
She said specifically.
Changed. No, go ahead.
Oh, she specifically said that this song that she sang at the end was banned by the corporation, which means she went and told the corporation, hey, I have this Hellion song. Can I sing it? And they said no, which means they must have known that she was a Hellion and didn't do shit.
And if the corporation is in charge of this entire broadcast, essentially, if she starts singing the Hellion song, wouldn't that shut it down?
Yes.
They push the kill button.
But
no, so right now, so she sings the song and sort of steals the doctor's agency again to solve a problem, but they don't really solve any problem. We don't know if this did anything. All it did was sing a song and make everybody cry.
But Gary and Mike clapped.
Yeah, and the people in that arena would be the ones least likely to sympathize with the Hellions at this moment because the 3 trillion people, they don't really know what was happening or what was going on.
They were watching the dress rehearsal the whole time.
Yeah, they weren't really involved. But these 100,000 people, they thought they died. They were shot out into the void of space for an hour. And they're just like, oh, you sang a song.
So they turn the hard light into a tractor beam, and the Merce knows how to make the stasis cube that the real life dude they brought in to guest star in was being cryo frozen in, and they just to bring everybody down one at a time, or sometimes maybe 2 or 3 because they might have been held together. They defrost everybody.
But you forgot Black Lady's assistant also is a tech genius, which we
turned the pod somehow into animation chambers.
I know.
None of that makes sense.
No.
All right.
I mean,
so
part of me is like, for what we're getting right now, I'll accept it, even though it makes literally no sense.
But what we just talked about makes my point. Juno Dawson wrote an entire story that set up a lot of plot points with no resolution had.
Juno Dawson doesn't know how to write sci-fi and only writes gay books over and over.
Zero
and over
experience,
again.
And it's evident.
Yes,
I think this episode is actually on the lower end of episodes. I think it's written very poorly.
Oh, it's shallow writing. It's very
shallow. The plot, every plot point is nonsense. Every single one of them. Whereas some of the other episodes, like The Well, for example, I think some of that could work with better dialogue, without the midnight desecration. But this one, I don't think there's anything that really could stand on its own with better dialogue.
Yes.
None of it makes sense.
Andy, none of it. Yeah, Madman in a blue box. And once upon a time, it was that, and it was glorious.
Dude flies
And
around and travels through time in a police
he means
box.
none. He means none of it makes sense. It does make sense when written by competent people. Once upon a time, RTD was competent, as was
Do you
Stephen Moffat.
understand what science fiction is supposed to be? Like,
Yeah.
seriously,
And-
like actual competent science fiction actually takes concepts of real life science and applies it into a fictional setting. So yes, you might have aliens and space creatures and all sorts of weird, wacky, doodly stuff, but they have rules within every single universe. They have ways to actually combine actual science within this fictional world, and they make it make sense. None of this makes sense. And I'm the one that still likes
eternally
this episode.
consistent. Yeah, there are rules for internal consistency. Plot is
which were
universal,
followed for
makes
55
sense.
years. For 50 to 55 years, they followed their rules that they set up. It's only in the past 8 years that they have thrown the rules out the window to write more science fantasy.
Go ahead.
I hate the argument that it never made sense, or sci-fi never makes sense, or stories don't make sense, because that degrades any ability to look at objective quality. No stories have quality whatsoever if nothing needs to make sense, if nothing ever made sense, and then nothing has value. Honestly, storytelling as a medium, regardless of its novels, movies, shows, or anything like that, is irrelevant and valueless if there's no way to determine quality.
Well, the ultimate thing is when somebody says that none of it makes sense, or it's a weird dude in a police box flying through space. No, it's a TARDIS that's actually broken. It has a broken chameleon system that is just stuck as a police box. But okay, let's actually not know what the actual lore is there. But think of it further. Saying that diminishes, the Dalek, Voyage of the Damned, any of the actual really good storylines that we've had throughout time that have emotional impact or anything like that. And it's a self-defeating statement, essentially, that nothing ever needs to be good. Everything's just shit over and over again. And if you like it, then what the heck are you even crying about? But then that tells me that you never liked it. That tells me that you never enjoyed this. And it tells me that you have no real love for this. So why the fuck are you crying right now?
One of my favorite images of all time.
That's pretty great.
I love this image. I love this image because that's what it is. And a man was a man, always will be a man.
Still a man, baby.
Still a man. I love that image. I love that image. I love that image. So in the end, though, so then it's all happy ending because of a song and crying. No, people get punished, but the corporation gets away scot-free. After all their anti-capitalism railing in this episode, corporation gets away scot-free, apparently.
Yeah, because all the images that they showed us, they never showed anybody else.
No, that's her internal monologue being presented to us. So now Shooty and Belligerent skip on back to the TARDIS, have a hug, and they now are going to... And at the same time, he's still dealing with the Susan visions, and they get in there, and they're
You forgot Graham.
Oh, look, the favorite word. Yeah, you're here. Yeah, later. Yeah, run away, coward. Run away.
I think it'll come as a shock to my wife that I'm an incel.
Yeah,
it'll be a shock.
Yeah, so I don't have a girlfriend.
I'm of questionable sexuality, so
and I admit I just have bad luck with women. I got bad luck with women. It's that simple. I can admit that. I'm not afraid.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
but
coward ran away. Bye, coward. Bye. Thanks for stopping.
You forgot Graham Nolan, but prior to Graham Nolan, it is Graham Nolan or Graham Norton.
He looks like shit, by the way. He does terrible.
Not look good.
But Graham Norton, yeah,
Graham Norton.
You said Graham Nolan. That's the comic book artist, you idiot.
Shut up. I'm not a UK guy. Anyways, prior to that, I shit you not, they're talking about like different Eurovision songs. And of course, fucking Shooty Gatwa says this was his Rising of a Phoenix. For those of you who are unaware what Rising of a Phoenix is from Eurovision, it is a good song. I'm not going to deny it. It is a beautiful song. It actually has like a lot of impact, but it's sung by an Italian singer who's trans. And doesn't hide the fact that they're trans because they have a full-fledged beard.
Moving on, we're almost done here, and then we're gonna talk. We got half an hour left. Still got stuff to talk about. So
I need to talk about the Graham Norton stuff.
Okay.
Though.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the doctor randomly says the word Earth. I mean, not randomly, like it makes sense in context. And for some reason, this triggers the Graham Norton hologram to turn back on and explain to them what Earth is and what happened to it. Now, My problem with this is he specifically says the knowledge of Graham Norton was recovered from the wreckage of this demolished planet. Now, they specifically said that this Interstellar song contest was a continuation of Eurovision, that it is actually connected to Eurovision. It's not just a random
because they
song
have the
contest.
host. They have the host.
Mhm. Yeah.
How is he alive?
Well, they said cryo, but yeah, did they freeze him
But
before?
how did he survive the explosion of the planet?
How did he survive the explosion of the planet? Why was he cryogenically frozen? And Earth in the modern day it is a some species are aware of Earth in the present in Doctor Who, but it's not a very relevant planet. It's not culturally impactful. Humans aren't interstellar yet, so human culture like Eurovision would not have affected any other planet besides the one-off visitor. So there's no way that Earth culture would be so prevalent that they would go there to get Graham Norton's information and continue Eurovision without them and somehow rescue the host. Like, if the Earth is destroyed, humanity never had a chance to make this impact. Like, if in 500 years, like if Earth had never been destroyed and we became interstellar and Eurovision evolved into this, I can absolutely buy that. But if humanity's been gone for 500 years and it disappeared before it was interstellar, there's no way that Earth culture would be affecting all these other civilizations to this degree for the most televised event in the galaxy.
I have another question. So Graham Norton ultimately says that the Earth was turned to dust, which take that as you will for a giant planet turning to basically dust.
Yeah, it's a dramatization, but yeah
dramatization. But if there is no actual Earth and it's just a bunch of rocks now, let's just say that. Let's
and debris.
Say
remember, in the premiere, we saw debris. We saw the Eiffel
yeah,
Tower.
but these are retards. They don't understand what the heck they're doing. So let's say that it's more akin to like the Death Star shooting them. How do you get records of Graham Norton?
Reasons?
A nice computer hard drive floated out.
Just happen to have Graham Norton on it.
I don't
know. But now they get triggered to try and go back to May 24th, next Saturday. And the TARDIS starts to cry. It goes all red. And a really great line. What's that sound? That's the sound of May 24th, 2025. And then the TARDIS door explodes inward.
There's very few things that could do that to the TARDIS by Doctor Who lore. A Dalek Empire was listed as one of them.
Empire.
Not just regular Daleks. Like regular Daleks, it can't do shit against it. But at the end of the David Tennant run, he says that's a fully fledged Dalek Empire out there. Right now, that wooden door is just made out of wood.
Yeah.
I don't know what could have done that. But we'll see next week.
And we know the TARDIS could do it to itself, hence Matt Smith.
I mean, but at the same time, that was defeated. I don't know.
Anyway, so that happens. And then we get the stinger. The last person brought down is Mrs. Flood, who by now we all know what's going to happen. She blows by the gay guys and she regenerates into the Ronnie.
So all these fragile humans, 100,000 of them survive whatever this is, no problem. But her brain stems freeze, and that kills her. Like, would the Doctor have gotten frozen brain stems too?
Well, goes to my point of like when you said there's ice in my heart and I don't know if it'll leave. I think they're setting it up that he's dying now. But I don't know. But
I don't know about that.
I thought the bioregeneration, and I get it. Okay. I thought
the bioregeneration was a factor of the
toy maker.
They had this whole.
Well, the rules have changed permanently now, apparently.
But
because RTD said that at this point, all previous Doctors have bioregenerated and split the timeline into versions where, like, the first Doctor keeps living after his regeneration and so on and so forth. And that explains Tales of the TARDIS, the spin-off show where we see reunions of older Doctors playing their versions of the Doctor with their companions. And he's basically said, because the Toymaker did it once, now every time a Time Lord regenerates, it's always going to be a bioregeneration, which is just an endless thing.
Which means Shooty's gonna bioregenerate. Which means we're trapped in an endless cycle of shit. Then none of it goes away. it's stuck in the toilet forever. But here's
You
what I
know
love
what?
about here's what I love and hate about this bioregionation. I love it because it just shows how creatively bankrupt they are, and it also reveals their agenda. So Mrs. Flood is a Ronnie, but now Brown Lady is the Ronnie. She's just a Ronnie. And here's what I noticed about that. I think I mentioned this to Jed yesterday.
You said it to me too.
I said it to you too. Okay, I said it to you too.
I mentioned it in my review.
What I love is that the white lady is now immediately subservient to the brown one, and it also shows that the previous one is the leftovers, and that means the newest version knows it. That's them trying to reinforce what probably we and other people. I know we've been saying it. I don't know about other people. We were saying that Shooty's the clone, that he's just a clone, a fake one. His TARDIS is a clone. That's I feel like this RTD trying to say no, he's the real one. He's the real one because
we know that
you're 100% right.
Yeah. We know we live rent free in his head. It's pretty obvious by almost every single episode. So yeah, this would be him. This would be them saying, yeah, actually, Shooty's the real doctor. I know you guys keep saying that he was just birthed from David Tennant's cock, but I mean, in reality, he's the real one.
At least it makes sense that these two that the Ronnie was born from a hooch. At least that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I hate the new Ronnie just being generic evil person. The Ronnie is a complicated, fascinating character. She just doesn't go, I'm going to destroy the doctor. And of course, she has to steal the doctor's line because you can't have anything original. She's just a Ronnie. I am the Ronnie. The definite article, you might say. That is a famous classic Who way for the doctor to say that he's the doctor is the definite article.
So going into next week, are you ready for the Unholy Trinity?
Unholy Trinity?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my fucking God, I forgot he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yep, and he's going to play a part. For some reason, they want him.
From what we understand, and this is what's making them all melt down, he's going to be reading a book, and I don't have that one up here. I had it somewhere. I thought I had it. He's going to be reading a book, and apparently in the next episode called Wish World, everybody's going to be so heteronormative, it's making the queerdos who showed up in my chat today so unhappy that everything's heteronormative, and that Shooty and Belligerent are going to apparently be a couple taking care of Captain Baby Poppy. Dermy, did you realize who the baby was, the little black girl from last week?
You told me last week.
Yeah, we did tell you. Yeah. And there's another
I think that's going to be their child, and that's going to be the timeless child. I think Poppy's going to fall through the portal.
Which means that's some sick fucking shit. It's like that movie you made me watch last year, Jed.
Predestination, yeah.
It's that movie you made me watch. Shooty is his own thing, and it comes to this right here. Here's a line: if this is from this week, right here. If you've got a granddaughter, that means you've got kids. Not yet. Now,
yeah, that's a complete bastardization of the rule. Susan is not a future child of the doctor.
Here's my guess. What they're doing? Susan might be adopted. They might change it. She's adopted, and he's never had kids.
Well, he does say, David Tennant in The Doctor's Daughter, when Donna and him come across the actress who actually ends up being the Doctor's wife and David Tennant's wife in real life, there was Jenny, his clone, and he says, Donna, I've been a father before. He specifically says he's been a father before.
It doesn't matter to these people. They're going to rewrite this shit. They've already been rewriting this shit. And this is what this line tells me right here, that they're going to say, I feel like this is where it's going. That's what it's my gut right now. I might be wrong, but that's what I get my take from.
I mean, I wouldn't.
It wouldn't surprise me.
What if? One, it wouldn't surprise me if what you're saying is true, but at the same time, we have Susan. Okay, we have Susan. They're trying to do Susan again. What if
she's adopted, Jeremy? Now she's adopted.
No. What if baby Poppy is actually Susan?
That would be bad too. That would be really bad. I actually had a horrifying thought there for a moment that Belligerent isn't Poppy's mother. We have rumors that Jodie is going to be in the finale.
Yes.
And that
Jesus.
And if it is the child's, if it is the timeless child that Poppy is, the Doctor is his own mother and father.
Again, that freaking movie you made me watch last year, Predestination. They don't understand that that's not how any of this works.
I want that to be
Predestination
true
is a good
now.
movie, but
It's so
It's so bad.
so bad.
It's such a bad movie.
So it's gonna be,
it's funny, but
so next week is Wish World, where it's a fabricated world, possibly made up by live action Eric, and they're all stuck in somebody. They're all stuck not knowing who they are for a while.
What if Belinda is actually the doctor's daughter?
she she has a fob watch that she pulls out at the end.
There's so many horrible possibilities with this.
Because remember,
are there any good possibilities?
No, there's no good possibilities.
Hold on. There's other pics walking around where you see the Ronnie and live action Eric walking around holding a baby. They're walking around all holding babies in this episode. Some people are saying that that's the real Ruby or something. There's a lot of crazy shit being thrown out there by these stands. Now, at the same time, there's been an upsurge, an uptick of actual Doctor Who fans shitting all over this right now. They've been riled up on this as well. I mean,
because like you said, there is this terrifying fear right now that they're going to yet again double down on the timeless
they
child.
already have, Dermy. This will be the 8th time they've done it.
I get
they're going to do something with it.
We've talked about it before. People think they're going to do something very big revolving around the timeless child, not just mention it or discuss it or something. They're going to actually impact it and have lasting impact. Like we've said, that potentially baby Poppy is the doctor that fell through the fucking portal. There's these things, or the doctor's his own mother and father. People have this feeling that something like that's going to be going on because RTD has something fucking caught up his goddamn asshole.
It's what Jed's been saying. RTD likely has the idea in his head. I brought this in. I'm going to end this forever now. So I'm going to burn the fields and salt the earth so nothing may grow again. It's distinctly possible.
It is.
I think he's going to end it.
I think he's
one way or another. I think the rumors of BBC renewing it on their own after 2 years aren't true.
With what money?
With what money?
That has been the ongoing thing. Whenever you talked about this before, these rumors just popped up yesterday, and I started seeing they don't have money. They've openly said the only reason they had to go to Disney was because the BBC didn't have the funding anymore. And people are going to come out here and go well, they'll just go back with a smaller budget. No, we're not talking about, they don't have the money for the smaller budget. There's no reason for them to actually go on with this. They're not getting the viewership data anymore. They can't do anything. They can't justify even it existing at this point.
Well, let's talk about the overnights.
They actually go with that.
Let's talk about there is a little controversy surrounding these overnights, which were higher than we expected.
They were a lot higher than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's
all right,
to fucking explain.
All right, well,
I haven't seen the explanation, so yeah, Dermy, lead us in.
Go for it.
Okay.
Legatus has mentioned it a couple times in the chat, but Dermy, go into it.
The FA Cup was on the same channel just before Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
The FA Cup finale or final, the big game. That was the biggest fucking thing. Remember when this episode was first being discussed on whether or not this episode would even air, because this was the episode that was potentially just going to be on streaming because they knew the FA Cup was so fucking large. The easiest explanation as to why the views are so large is because people were watching the FA Cup and just left the fucking screen on.
Mm-hmm.
Left it on for a few minutes and then eventually turned it off. And how they count views.
And remember, we know how all these services channels count views. 2 seconds, that's enough.
Legitimately, think of it like the Super Bowl. I know I'm not comparing the FA Cup to the Super Bowl, but just follow me here. When the Super Bowl ends, when you're at these big parties, you just kind of leave the TV on. You don't give a shit after that.
And all the sports bars are going to leave it on too.
Yeah, everybody's just
because the employees are busy.
Yeah, everybody's just leaving that shit on. That's why those numbers are so high, is because everybody just left the fucking shit on.
I'd love to see a breakdown of where the peaks were and how far it dropped after the first 5 minutes.
Beautiful. That would be fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to pull up those numbers.
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry. I'm
Yeah, I can.
I'm
Yeah,
dealing with
but
Mellow, I'm dealing
I've
with the
already
Mellow
got them
Mondays.
pulled up.
I'm dealing with the Mellow Mondays thing. Sorry.
Okay.
So
ahead.
yeah, this spike is not what I expected. I figured because of the competition between the Cup and actual Eurovision that it would dip to be the lowest of the season. At this point, I still don't think we're going to see much farther down than 1.4, maybe 1.5 for the finale, because finales usually see a slight uptick. So I don't think we're seeing under 1 this time.
I was sure it was going to happen. I was so sure.
I was
really
hoping they
was.
were gonna get it. I agree with you, Jed. This was gonna be the one that actually ended up doing it, if any of them actually ended up doing it. But the sole fact that we didn't get it.
According to Daleks Are Forever, the show lost 2 million in the first 15 minutes. If it lost 2 million, it might have been below for the average.
Then that adds to Dermy's explanation. They left it on for a few seconds and they just quickly counted the views before
and then
it went away.
Gained it back in the last 10 minutes as people were turning on, because Eurovision, I think, was also on that channel. So the bookends when people were ending the Cup and starting Eurovision.
I believe Eurovision was on a separate channel. I could be wrong there, but I believe that one was, because somebody came into my comment section when we were first discussing this all those months ago, and they started complaining like, well, it's going to be fine, and Eurovision's on a separate channel. Well, I don't know. I don't have a fucking TV license over in your guys' backwards country where you have
Dermy, nobody does anymore. Nobody has TV license anymore.
They don't verify if you have it. You can go to the iPlayer with the VPN and just say, yes, I have a license, and they'll let you see everything.
Well, I know, but it's just one of those things like, I don't know what your guys' rules are over there when it comes to like, I can tell you what channel Cartoon Network is, Fox, and all that shit. I know. Well, I used to.
Daleks Are Forever is saying that they were on the same channel.
They are? Okay, then I'm wrong. So then,
I think that makes sense for that 10-minute rise that they had at the end. But just real fast, Daleks Are Forever. Yes, the TARDIS did become a sun briefly. That was only because when the silence blew it up at the end of season 5, it became a single, like a stable supernova, something like that, and it was warming the Earth. It was an explosion contained in one moment, spread throughout all history. So it was more an explosion frozen in time became a sun temporarily, but that was under extreme circumstances. But yeah, that explains this viewership, because this viewership doesn't make sense. Yes, even though we're saying this is good for this season, it's still gotta be in the bottom 10, bottom 15 worst overnight viewership in the show's entire history.
I'm looking something up real quick. Give me a second, because I don't remember last season. I have them bookmarked. I'm trying to look at last year's numbers real quick, because I do believe this is lower than the majority of last year. That's 2020, 2023 is what I want. Not 2023. I want 2024.
The rumor is that it's Billie Piper, from what I heard, and she doesn't look like Billie Piper anymore. If you've been looking at that, she's had some work done. I don't know if she has anything else going on. I think she's been trying to get her directorial career off the ground. I hope she stays with that.
So, legitimately, if those numbers are legit, which they're not, they actually fall just under episode 4 of last year, which was the 73 yards, which my understanding had a similar situation in which the big game was on. People just let the thing kind of run through, because then the following week the numbers drastically dipped, because 73 yards or 72, however fucking many it was again, that was at 2.62, which was following Boom, which had a 2.04, but then the week after that had a 2.12. So that drop doesn't make logical sense.
So all of this season looks terrible, even compared to the last season, which was terrible.
Well, it's doomed. We literally only have 2 episodes left. There is no third season for Shooty right now. There's not even a Christmas episode this year.
Yeah, there's not.
All we have is The Land Between the War and the Sea.
Yeah, and
that ends up running up. Jed, you even pointed out
Disney episodes.
Disney episodes, and if they can't get more funding, they can't continue going forward. And I don't see the BBC being able to.
Sony ain't giving them more money.
Nobody wants to give the show money. It's just draining it.
I mean, all the queerdos who keep coming in here and calling us this and that, they're the only ones watching it, and they amount to this much. They're the same people that watch The Acolyte, the same people who watch all these failure shows that have been bastardizations of things that used to be good. They don't amount to anything.
Like I want people to fully understand the BBC was non-committal before, like after season 1. And the BBC has taxpayer money. Not that much taxpayer money, mind you, anymore, but still, the BBC is a government-funded service. Mm-hmm. They get tax money and tax revenue. If they can't afford it, that tells you just how bad this shit is.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know all about the viewership for the BBC in the UK, but we haven't really gotten a whole lot of numbers from the Disney Plus side of things.
You're funny.
And we actually have the Nelsons. The Kurt Nelsons are from the first 2 episodes. I have them pulled up if you want to see Disney Plus.
Sure. Yeah.
So this is the top 10 for April 14th through 20th. The episode did, I think, premiere on the 12th. So more the second episode than the first episode. Mm-hmm. I don't see any Doctor Who in this list. Do you guys see any Doctor Who in this list?
Go to originals. Go to originals.
All right. We'll go to original. Any Doctor Who in this list?
Look at that. Wheel of Time finally appeared. Look at that. Good for them.
I did this last year as well. Even if you go to acquired, which I would end up saying acquired should fall under this.
And think about it like this. That would, because this is Nielsen's. This is why I keep saying whenever we talk about ratings, numbers of that, Nielsen's, while the industry standard is no longer reliable for single seasons, because they are including all minutes viewed for all owned seasons that is streamed on the service. So it's a combination.
I haven't done this year, but let me. Okay, I didn't realize that.
It hasn't appeared on. It hasn't appeared on.
It does not show
Samba
up
at all.
Yeah,
not
it
even
doesn't show up on
Samba. I've had Samba up for other reasons, for other shows. Hasn't appeared on Samba once.
Here's the thing, and the reason why I like to bring up Samba TV for this, more importantly, is the Acolyte showed up on Samba TV.
Mm-hmm. Well, that again, single season. There was a lot of controversy surrounding it. There's not even controversy surrounding this stupid show.
Controversy has long since died.
Yeah,
but I bring up the Acolyte because the Acolyte was so bad, got 0 views. Nobody wanted to watch it. Shout out Revenge of the Sith. But the Acolyte was still picked up by Samba TV. If Doctor Who isn't getting picked up, and we know how bad the Acolyte was, that tells you just how bad Doctor Who is, even running on Disney Plus.
It's Skeleton Crew bad, because Skeleton Crew didn't get picked up either. It's Skeleton Crew bad.
We're talking about more than likely Daredevil level.
Daredevil bad. That's another good example. Daredevil bad.
I think if it were like somebody did report it, it would be close to 500,000 overnight views for Disney Plus worldwide. That's kind of the range I would expect it to be in, with what else is on there that's still reflected in their top 10. And it's just so bad. And the GOAT says in my chat that the BBC might go to 3 episodes or so every few years. I could see that. The Sherlock, I actually love Sherlock. All 4 seasons. Yeah. Season 4 has issues, but I fucking love Sherlock.
I prefer.
That's not the format for That's not the format for Doctor Who. I don't think Doctor Who could last. I'm not saying that against you, GOAT. I think it's an interesting theory.
They tried that though towards the end of Jodie Whittaker, just doing big
a couple specials a year.
Yeah.
Sherlock also had 2 really great actors in the starring roles to kind of
absolutely
hold it up.
But I would say maybe 50,000 does make sense. But I also know the stands will always say over and over again, but Disney Plus is putting it as one of their top 10. That doesn't mean jack shit. All that means is a marketing ploy. That's all that is.
Right now, somebody said after Andor, Rogue One was the most watched thing on Disney Plus. That freaking matters. It's a dying platform. They have. I saw their recent subscribers. They have 30 million subscribers less than they did 3 years ago.
But every platform's top 10 or most viewed or whatever right now those aren't actually what is being most watched right now. Those are the things that they want you to click on.
Mhm.
Normally, those things are what they've just put up there that they want you to
They're
watch.
all
They want
new things, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
it's normally something to as a marketing ploy because a lot of people utilize that whole thing when it came to Mr. Beast games and shit like that. Like, but Amazon's saying it's the most watched show right now. It's in their top tens. That doesn't mean anything. That's
It's
a
the same thing
marketing
with
ploy.
Rings of Power. Well,
Yeah.
every time we look at the Nielsen's year round for decades, it feels like, as long as we've been looking at the Nielsen's, NCIS is always fucking there. And it's usually on Netflix. I think they're trying to transition it to Paramount Plus, but it's been on Netflix for a fucking long time. Has NCIS been in the top 10 at any point on Netflix?
No.
No. Even
Yeah,
though
that's
it's
'cause they're moving
like
it to-
one of their most watched things.
And they're trying to move it on to Peacock now because the Tony Ziva show is coming, and I'm really tempted.
But
The trailer looks all right.
I'm so tempted.
I love those two.
Because it's separated from the dog shit the show has become.
Mm-hmm.
It's
They've
not
been gone
that-
for a while.
Peacock isn't worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, gee, yeah, like I'm gonna watch on Peacock.
Oh, that's true. Like take note, like what you said, like NCIS being on Netflix is the reason NCIS is always up there is because it's on Netflix. Everybody has Netflix. Not a whole lot of people have Disney Plus because a good example of that is if The Office was still over on Netflix and not Peacock,
It'd be
The
number
Office
one.
would always be
Yeah.
number one because that's the only real reason I have Peacock is because of The Office, and I honestly can't keep justifying rewatching The Office over and over and over again just for Peacock. I could probably find another way to go watch it, but when you take that into account, that The Office should legitimately be number one
Before it was moved to Peacock, it was there every time.
And listen, Peacock's actually profitable right now for them. They somewhat profitable. I mean, they are. It has improvement.
They don't
still
make a whole lot of original things. They mainly acquire stuff, and that's a lot cheaper for them.
It's usually their NBC shows or they're putting on their Universal movies. But take into account, like they did find a very clever way to profit off of The Office all over again. And it's once a year they put out a new season of The Office, just the extended cuts.
Yeah.
So they found a way to profit off The Office all over again, which I have to sit there and go like, it's the same episode, but now you see more and you're like, yeah, I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
There's more things that get justified and there's some more like character growth and development.
Listen, I never really liked The Office, so
it's okay. I've seen it through twice. I watched Peacock for Community. After Community moved to Peacock, I had to.
I don't like Community either.
I love Community.
Community is so good.
I've seen it over a dozen times.
I tried both of them when they were on Comedy Central during my terrestrial TV days. I just could not get into either of those shows.
Listen,
couldn't.
We have 3 minutes before Mellow Monday starts. All I have to say is Peacock had the balls to play the fucking first Dungeons and Dragons episode. Netflix dropped it because blackface.
Yes. Yes.
All right. All right, go ahead. One more thing. Go ahead.
I was hoping, and now that we only have 3 minutes, I don't know if we do. I was hoping to see Susan's farewell.
Oh, sure, fine. I don't mind.
Is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
If we're pushing to Mellow Mondays.
No, it's fine. Listen, I'm losing co-hosts by the moment here. I've already lost 2 tonight for reasons, both weather related and real life. So I'm fine. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Let's just do it.
All right. So have you guys seen much of Classic Who? I think Adam, you've seen sporadic Fourth Doctor stuff.
I've seen mostly Tom Baker stuff.
I've watched
and a little bit after that. But yeah.
I watched it through once, but I don't remember so much.
This is season 2 of Doctor Who, I believe, maybe season 3. Dalek Invasion Verse. We're saying goodbye to Susan, who's been a companion the whole way up to this point, and she's leaving because the Doctor saw that she fell in love and didn't want to let her have to fight with herself. Should I stay with my grandfather? Should I go with the man I love? He takes the decision away from her for her own benefit, locked her out of the TARDIS, and says goodbye to her. And I think this scene really encapsulates. It's such great writing, such great characters, and why it hurts so much to see them brought back for shock value as much as anything else. It is a post-apocalyptic, post-Dalek invasion world, so there's that to go with it. Just pausing for it.
If I remember, only like $3 for. That was like $3, if I remember correctly.
It was a full Dalek invasion, but they reused the same Daleks.
It was like, yeah.
Prices.
God, I love.
You only ever saw like 3 at one time. A few. This is what the show used to be. That's the character we used to have. Does that seem like Shooty Gatwa at all? I could see William Hartnell in David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston and Tom Baker. I see those William Hartnell moments. In Jodie Whittaker, she's derpy.
Sorry.
And Shooty's just gay mixed psychopath.
Like, that's why I know we need to wrap it up, but that's why I was...
Devil's going to be late. He's the only one I got left. We're fine.
Okay. That's why I played those 3 moments from Eccleston, Tennant, and Matt Smith, is because they could capture that gravity. They could capture what was important there. And that was just a goodbye, and I was moved.
There's so many great speeches with them. One of my favorites in
speeches.
Doctor speeches. Like the Capaldi run has all the issues that it does, but Capaldi carries it.
Oh man!
One of my favorite Doctor Who speeches is "This is a scale model of war." That speech is just incredible, encapsulating everything with the Time Lords, and which is a speech that Shooty tries to fall off and like, I'm the last of my kind, and I know
how many times have we done that since Chin Balls now? I'm the last of Time Lords. I'm the last of Time Lords. No, apparently not.
I will always love the Dalek speech more than anything when you have Eccleston just staring down the Dalek and the fear in his eyes and him knowing what this thing is and him just PTSD takes over.
Well, we don't know it's PTSD. That's the brilliant part about that. We don't know he's got PTSD.
Yeah, we don't have the information yet.
And it's only in hindsight do we realize how we don't get that for like another couple seasons of what's been going
Dr.
on.
Victorious.
Dr. Victorious. Waters of Mars, I think, is one of the best written episodes. Or one of my favorite speeches is one of Matt Smith's. It's not a great episode, Rings of Akate, but when he gives that speech to the living sun. Like, I've walked in universes where the laws of physics were devised by a madman. And it's all referencing Classic Who. And that's when the showrunners knew Classic Who and cared about Classic Who and honored Classic Who rather than, ooh, this'll shock people. Ronnie. Is it the Ronnie? Is it anything like the Ronnie? No, but you've heard that name before. Well,
it was like the Sutek. It was like, who really knows Sutek? But we're just going to bring up Sutek because the old Doctor Who villain. It's not like the Master and like the importance of actually bringing the Master back and having that whole back and forth with him and knowing just how impactful that was. It's just bringing something back, and it feels like he's constantly trying to revitalize like the return of the Master and how people cared about that.
Yeah.
Just trying to revisit that goal. Because, Sutek isn't anything like actual Sutek.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They looked up names on Wikipedia. They didn't even bother to watch the episodes, it feels like.
There is no Bible left for them to reference anymore. It's not there. There's no Bible. All right. We got to wrap it up, though. Even though I'm down to one person on Mellow Mondays, we're still going to try and put on a show over there. So let's say our goodbyes and farewells and get on with our week. Dermy, go.
Hi, I'm Dermy Wormy of Dermy Wormy. Please go check out my new videos. Let me know what you guys think of my new editing style. Seriously, full criticism. I'll take anything. I'm trying some new stuff out, seeing what it goes. If you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. But please just let me know what you think. And more than likely from now on, it's going to probably be 1, maybe 2 videos a day because of just how much work I'm putting into everything. My Doctor Who video might be 17 minutes long. That took me all day yesterday to make.
And, focus on the stuff that both you want to work on. And there's like, it's best to focus fire. Let's focus fire. All right, Jed, go.
You can all find me on YouTube and Kick at Hollywood Scholar, just regularly scheduled live streams, including Saturday Night Driving, which Adam will get more into.
All right. As for me, once you guys are done here, you will be shuttled over to Mellow Mondays. I don't know how much of a show we're going to do over there because I'll be honest, I have nothing planned. It's one of those days where I really have nothing planned because of the Daily Dive, 1 p.m. Eastern every day on this channel where you, the audience, are in control. That's been getting so much of my attention that sometimes from that I get stuff from Mellow Mondays and I haven't for this week. And as I said, majority of my co-hosts are busy. So it's going to be a short-staffed crew. So I don't know what we're going to do. We'll try for a little bit. Maybe we'll wrap it up early. I am kind of tired. This particular show right here does drain my brain. Talk about Shooty Who. So I don't know how much gas I have to take anyway. I'll be honest, deep down inside, I just want to play Expedition 33. I want to stream it bad. It's been a week since I got to stream it for you guys. I want to get back to it. I do. So that's definitely tomorrow night. Rest of the week, you stay tuned for other good stuff. Dermy, do we have guests for Ballbusters?
I believe this week's guest for Ballbusters is actually Theo Snodgrass.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
We met him in Vegas. He's a funny dude.
Oh, okay.
Gal
So,
streams with him more regularly. He's a part of
okay.
like Rogues Gallery and those.
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
people.
Okay. So one of Iron's guys. Okay. All right.
And he's a comic who specializes in relationship stuff. So
Okay. Okay. So we'll have that. And I'm actually going to be making an interesting video. I'm working on it tomorrow because on Double D's today, I'm going to make a compilation of every time I got killed on Among Us on Saturday, and my reactions. Because the guy says, "Hey, show us that." I said, "You guys want to see that?" They're like, "Yes, show us." Because Kel brought up a great one where he let me go through my entire medical scan before killing me.
I need to clip out Shock and I's back and forth at the very end.
That was great. I would love to know how Bad Shock was raging when I killed him and self-reported. I'd love to know what he was doing in that moment. That was
that was beautiful.
That whole run, dude. Nobody were even close to us that entire run. Not even.
Shock almost lost the whole final fucking match. Because he was like, just do your tasks. If
he did lose. Alf won.
The fucking right.
No, Dermy, he did lose. Alf won that round. Alf won. We did lose. Alf won. I think Alf won. Yeah, I think Alf won. Yeah, he murdered everybody. Anyway, so I'm doing that. Rest of the week, we got drive-in on Saturday. We're doing Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Good movie. Despite the fact that Kevin Costner didn't even bother to do an English accent, which in the end, I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. They didn't try to do it. I think it was
really
good. If you can't, better not to do it than do a shitty one. That's my stance on that. Better not to do it than do a shitty one. Anyway,
or better to cast someone better in the role.
I like his performance. I think he's okay.
I find it kind of bland.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. So, Shock was streaming. I didn't know Shock was streaming his perspective. Derby, did you know Shock was streaming his perspective?
He can't hear you.
Oh.
Private chat.
Me? Oh, he lost it. Shit. Bye, Dermy. Bye. We're gonna end it here. Bye, everybody. We'll see you later as soon as I get my things set back up here. Good night, everybody. Wait, no, got to turn the thing on, Adam.